Yeah, back at it Tuesday, and I think off the bye week, I think we're in a good place. You had to knock some rust off on Monday again after being off for a weekend, but I thought they transitioned into Tuesday really well. So I was very pleased with some of the jumps we took from yesterday to today.
Coach Wilcox talked yesterday a little bit about the growth that Oregon State's made over the last couple of years. On tape, what is the progress that you've seen from their defense?
I think it's in every area. They're better at pass rush. They're better at stopping the run. They're better when they do. They play limited man coverage, but when they do get into it, they're better. They understand what they're doing within their zone. So there isn't an area on their defense, both personnel, scheme, coaching, that hasn't improved in my opinion when you watch them on film. So tough challenge for us.
What did Utah do right in that game?
Got off to a fast start, broke some tackles, so those were some things that they did well. And sometimes, there can be outlier games. That's all that is. And give Utah credit. They're an incredibly good football team, but that's not indicative of how Oregon State's played the entire year. And you can go game by game. They've been in every game. That was one that they weren't. But even the Oklahoma State game at times, it was going back and forth when I watched the film, no matter what the final ended up being. So it's it's one of those games where, Utah State kind of, got off to a good start and, and just was a little better on that day. But you got to buy into what you see, body of work, the whole season. So I'm really impressed with what Oregon State's doing this year.
How are you feeling about your offensive line group now that you've kind of had to shift a few guys and move a few guys around in the wake of some injuries?
Yeah, they just keep getting better as they just keep getting reps, and that's, you're getting reps together at new positions, So, Cindric's getting more reps and more comfortable at the center spot. Other guys coming in and filling roles, just the more reps they get, next to each other and communicating, it just helps them to kind of take their game to another level. So I feel very good about the progress, but it's got to continue through this week because every minute is going to mean something going up until Saturday.
Do you see Cindric becoming more comfortable making the calls that a center needs to make?
He has been from the get-go. That's never been an issue for Cindric. He knows he could play any spot on that offensive line and know exactly what his assignments are. It's just more comfortable with just some of the footwork and steps, and when you're snapping it, it's just different. It's a challenging position, so just continuing to get used to that. So.
He struggled a little bit on the snaps in camp, but he was pretty clean in the game except for that miscue that really wasn't on him. Do you feel comfortable with his consistency on the snaps now?
Absolutely. Yeah, he has been. It's one of those things, if you don't notice him at practice, he's probably doing well. Yeah. And that's kind of it. When I say not notice him, not that you don't notice him, but if you don't notice him, hey, that was high or that was, I don't catch myself saying that, or talking to him about it or QB, so that means he's consistently putting it where it needs to be.
You guys had one of your most explosive performances against Oregon State last year. What's it going to take to kind of get back to that same level of explosiveness?
Just taking advantage of the situations when they present themselves, and also and that's not just balls that are just downfield. That's taking advantage of a situation where you're one-on-one in space and breaking a tackle. Taking advantage of a situation where, maybe you're able to put that, hit that guy in the slant and you put it on his front shoulder instead of a little high and behind where he can keep running, through a lane and break something. So it's a matter of, taking advantage of when the explosives present themselves, but also taking advantage of creating explosives through breaking a tackle, through good precision, good timing, and those were things we did well last year in that game.
You alluded to it earlier a little bit about rust. Is there a danger of being rusty a little bit early in the game after a bye?
I don't think so. I would never say that, and I would never think. I just meant that Monday coming back, you always feel a little bit like, because you didn't play, you're so used to that normal game on Saturday, all of a sudden you didn't have it, and we didn't have practice on Friday, so it was more a Monday deal. But by the time we hit Saturday, if that's an excuse, that's on us, so it's not. It was just more, I liked what they did from Monday to Tuesday with a little bit of that Monday rust and then clean some of that stuff up on Tuesday today.
Has there been any one particular thing that Devon has really improved on over these past couple of weeks in practice, or have you been working on anything in particular, if that makes sense?
Yeah, a few things. I think he's doing a really good job completing balls to the field, and those were times that we missed on some of those from hash to sideline. So he's done a great job with that. He's focused on it, and just probably also just not having to think at all. And he's always been he's learned at a high level. What I mean by that is even by the end of spring, he was almost further along than a lot of guys might have been coming in and just having 15 practices. But there's no there's no, there's no replacing what game experience can do for you. So the more he gets at that, the more comfortable he is, the less thinking he is, and the more he's just reacting and playing. So that's what I'm seeing more than anything through the bye week and even in these first 2 practices.
With last week being the developmental week that it was, did anyone in particular stand out from the developmental group?
No, I mean I think a lot of guys did, but I can't single anyone out. But definitely it was a very good week for a lot of those freshmen and young guys. I mean it had a lot to it. It's like extra spring ball in a way. It's kind of, they talk about some of the bowl practices. You just get extra time for those young guys with 2 byes.
What kind of progress do you see Spencer making reading the defense and being comfortable operating the offense?
Yeah, he's progressing every week, and he's getting more, with more reps. Again, so there's no, I can put him on the board, I can talk to him about it, we can watch film, but until you're out there doing it, those are the reps that really start to really count. And not that the others don't, but those are the ones where you truly get to see the growth and see if it's real. Yeah, we can talk about it on paper or talk about it on a QB test or, tips and reminder sheet, but it comes down to seeing on the field. So you're getting to see, especially like we talked about last week's developmental week, you're getting to see just some of that growth on the field. And he's just taking steps. So he's able to get through a read quicker. He's able to get his eyes right, more often, and just get a feel for, how each play, where we want to look with each play, depending on safety rotation, split safety, post safety, whatever that might be.
Playing against the young linebackers, what are you seeing out of them in this last week in the developmental?
Playing against our young linebackers?
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to be, that's a good group, and you're going to continue to see them. They're going to be impacts for us both as young players on special teams and as they start to, continue to get more reps, during spring ball and the off season, second bye week, that sort of thing. So it's a good group. It's a good group of guys, and I think we're going to be very deep there for a lot of years.
Wide receiver, at least from the outside looking in, looked like a concern coming into this year with all you guys love. How would you assess the wide receivers?
Yeah,
Better than you expected, or?
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's better than I expected because I had high expectations about that group. I think it's probably at different times, maybe exceeded what the outside might have thought, and it's still, though, we still have to continue to grow at that position. We still have to continue. I think just continuing to gain an understanding of the offense will allow those guys to always play faster. And right now there's still a level of that happens at times. But when they, again, are clear on exactly their split, where to line up, who we're rubbing, what we're doing, whatever that might be, they're playing at a high, fast level, and it's a group that I think can continue to shoot. We're only halfway through the season, so I'm looking forward to seeing their growth as we continue second half.
Can you give a couple of words about Clark and Crawford and Thomas, guys that weren't factors last year?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Clark. He's been really explosive over the top. He's made plays in the red zone, so that's been huge. He's gotten behind people as well, so that's been fun to see. I mean, Crawford, obviously, we can't wait to continue to get him back, because he was kind of a, he had a lot of versatility to his game, just being able to catch an underneath ball and rack it or get over the top. He's shown both of those, so it'll be fun to get him back as well and get him in that mix. And then you talk about Tonjes. Tonjes has been, one of those guys that's definitely been overachieving from day one, just how he was recruited and how he came in here as a walk-on, but he's on almost every special team. And then on top of that, he's playing, a lot more reps than probably he ever thought he would offensively. So that takes a lot of mental toughness too, not just physical toughness, but mental toughness. So it's been fun to see that. But it'll be good to get, Gavin back and continue to see Colin develop and eventually Elijah, and those guys to where, it's one guy's not having to take such a workload, especially when he's playing all that on special teams. That's tough. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.